So hi and welcome to another video. I don't know, have you heard of this saying? If you want to be happy for a day, get drunk. If you want to be happy for a year, get married. But if you want to be happy forever, plant a garden. This is so true and I love that saying because if not for this garden, I'm going to be honest with you here, I will either be in a mental home or maybe I won't even be alive. This garden has really given me hope. That is all I can say. It has given me hope. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to share with you my 1 year garden update and how it reflects in my personal life. We live in the countryside of Austria, a beautiful place on top of the mountain over 1,000 meters high. I think we are at like 1,100 meters high. And we got lucky with this house, lucky and unlucky, because my father-in-law died in 2022 and the house, the planning was all done by a professional, but the building, the interior, the plumbing, he did everything himself. And my husband always cherished that. My husband has 2 other siblings, and when my father-in-law died, before he died, whenever he sent me a picture, he would send me a picture of the view, which you will see in this video, a beautiful view. And some days when it's cloudy, it's like the cloud divides. You cannot see the bottom of the hill. The cloud is in between the bottom and up. And it's so gorgeous. And he will always send me those pictures and say, Vesta, look, this is my paradise. And my dream is to make his paradise the most beautiful paradise that you can imagine, with gardening, of course. And I have no knowledge. Before I started this last year, we lived in an apartment in Vienna and I had a balcony. And one thing that I loved to do was to walk around and look at people's balconies and people's yard and see their gardening flourishing and their layouts and all that. I really enjoy that. I can never get tired of it. But anyway, we bought this house from my husband's siblings. When my husband's father died, then there was confusion. We keep it, we don't keep it. The 2 didn't want to keep it, so we ended up having to pay them off and we kept the house. We moved into the house, and 2 months after we moved, my husband suffered a stroke. It has been a very difficult time of our life. We have 2 kids. My son is now 10, my daughter is 16, and my husband's stroke is 2.5 years now. His hand still doesn't work. Mentally, he is not in a good place, but I still continue to hope for the best. I started this garden last year, got a contractor. He just came to level the ground for me because, like I said, we live on a hill. After the ground was leveled, I started planting, and I spent hours and hours outside. When it was raining, I was in my raincoat planting. When it was sunny, I was out. I came from work and the first thing I did was put my bag down, change my clothes and plant. I seeded the grass, knew everything was done by me. I didn't have any professional help me. And in doing that, I was trying to escape what I was going through. You go on YouTube and you see people talking about, life is an illusion. You don't have to take it serious. Everything you're experiencing is not personal. It is an illusion. Or guess what? Maybe for those enlightened beings, I am not there. And I see my life and it is real. My pain is real. My suffering is real. And yeah, that I have to put out there. Maybe one day I will get to that point where I say my life is not personal and that everything in it doesn't exist or is an illusion. But long story short, I had to put this foil on because the contractor told me if I don't put it on, when it rains, all the soil will slide before the soil gets the chance to firm. And so I had to do it, even though I didn't like the idea, I had to. I didn't cover the whole thing because I didn't have enough. But anyway, everything was planted, and then winter came. And during that time, I was on this journey where I had started meditating. I was spending more time reading my Bible and trying to get to know God because I felt like I needed to hold on to something before I lose my mind. So while I was spiritually learning and trying to get closer to God, to get answers, mainly to ask Him to tell me why this is happening, winter passed, spring came, the sun started getting stronger and stronger, and my beautiful garden, suddenly it was as if I had woken up one day and someone had come to plant weeds in there. Do you know there is, I don't know my Bible really well, but there is a verse that is Matthew chapter 13, I think 14 to 30 or 24 to 30. Please, I'm sorry. Like I said, I am still learning my Bible. But I think, yeah, it is either Matthew chapter 13, 24 to 30, something like that. And it is about the farmer that sows wheat. And after he had sown the wheat, his servants go to the field and they find that weeds are growing among them, and they come and they tell the boss and say, we have a lot of weeds growing with the wheat. What should we do? Should we separate the weeds from the wheat? And their master said, no, you shouldn't, because their roots are entangled right now. We are going to wait until it is harvest time, and then we will harvest them both and then separate them, the weeds from the wheat. And I felt like someone had come to plant weeds in my garden. And at the same time this year, I was at this emotional phase in my life, in my marriage, that my husband decided to just completely give up because his hand isn't working after all the therapies he's doing. He stopped taking care of himself. He stopped taking a shower. We sleep in the same bed, but nobody contact. He doesn't look at me in the eyes. We have gone to his doctor. He has tried to give him antidepressive. He doesn't take them because he said he's not depressed. He doesn't get out of the house. I was dealing with all these, and while in that process, I met somebody, a patient of mine. I work as a nurse in a coma department. A patient of mine, he is 30, and his dad comes every day and sits next to his bed. I think I mentioned it in my last video. You can go and watch that. I will try and link it. And so we started talking, and yeah, just like the weeds in my garden, in my personal life, weeds started to grow there also. And you know what? If you are embarking on a spiritual journey, or you have decided to be seeking God, or you feel like there is something missing in your life and you want to look for that, and you think going the spiritual path is where you have to go, just know that you will stumble, that you will be tempted, that you might fall, and that you might screw up. But if there is one thing that I will tell you in this video that I hope that you take with you, it will be, no matter how many times you fall, you should never lay there. You should always try and get yourself up. Because, like my husband right now, Yes, it is unfair. He lived a very healthy life. He went to the gym, he ate well, and he still, for some reason, got a stroke. And yes, he doesn't deserve it, but who deserves to be sick? Nobody. But it happened, and he's having a hard time getting over it and pushing through it. So, like my garden, as I was plucking the weeds in my garden, I was plucking my own imperfections in my life where I have stumbled, where I have fallen, where I have screwed up. I started plucking because it, um, I was so, I was like emotionally wrecked that I thought what even brought me to that point was when my mother passed away last year. Um, After being sick for so long. And when she, for some reason, I kept thinking she's going to recover, and then she didn't. And that pushed me over the edge. I started saying, you know what? It is not even worth it to try to be good. It is not worth it. Why am I even trying so hard when I know deep down that I am not happy? And so screw it. I'm just going to just not care anymore. But you know what? The problem is once you taste God, it is a big problem because once you taste God, you cannot go back. You can't go back because your imperfections or whatever wrong thing you do stares at you in the face, and you ask yourself, does this satisfy me? Whatever it is that I was thinking, okay, I'm going to make my husband feel bad and tell him, look, you want to drive yourself crazy, and in the process, you're driving me more crazier. Well, guess what? Screw you. I'm going to do whatever I want. But guess what? Whatever I wanted isn't what I really wanted. And as this whole thing became so clear to me when I started picking out the weeds, because the weeds, the plants I planted were only a year old. This summer they will be 1 year, and you saw the kind of weeds that were growing next to them. The weeds were basically choking the plants that I had planted. And the same thing, if I hadn't tasted, if I hadn't tasted God, I don't know how else to put it, but if I hadn't stepped a foot into this other world, that is not this physical world, because I started my meditation, and when I started I was able to do 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, and in the end I was sitting for 1 hour. But I still screwed up, even being that deep. Like I said, my mom died, and that pushed me over the edge. But whatever it is, I have no regrets. So whatever your stumble block will be, whatever your temptation will be, whatever your downfall will be, it is important that you do not regret, that you see that as an experience. Because I have come to realize that everything that we are going through in this physical life is an experience. And it is an experience that we are not just supposed to rumble through it, but it is supposed to teach us something. And most of us, and most at times, we refuse to see what is trying to teach us, or it takes too long to see what is trying to teach you. You have to pay attention. Like there is a saying, whoever searches finds. So it takes paying attention to the details to be able to find out. I am still trying to find out why my husband got sick and why I am in this place in my life right now. But all I know is I love to garden, and through my gardening I am learning so much, not just about nature but about my own self. And I have come to realize that imperfection is completely okay. It is part of the process. And it is very important that you catch yourself, because if you do not catch yourself, you will be drawn too deep. And if there is one thing that I think we all know, is the fact that this physical body likes pleasure, everything that satisfies it, everything that pleases it. And so once you allow yourself to be too deep in something, of course you can get yourself out, but it will take a lot of hard work and sacrifice to get yourself out of there. And so the weeds that are growing in my garden are not done growing, they are still growing. Every couple of weeks I need to go down and take my hoe and my weed digger that I got from Timo, and I have to just get down and dirty and dig. And at the same time, I'm making sure that I do not let any weeds overgrow in my personal garden. So if you want to see more about how my garden grows and how I intend to turn it I intend to turn it into the paradise that my father-in-law always dreamt of. I hope he dreamt of that. I don't know his definition of paradise, but if it's mine, then it's a lot of flowers. So thank you very much for watching. I hope there is something that you can take out of this video. And if there is that one thing, please make it, no matter how many times you fall, you keep getting up and pushing through. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. I send you a lot of love from the countryside of Austria.